Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another installment of... Women's. We looked at one Yoko, and it's time to look at the other. It's also time to say goodbye to rubber breasts for now, but hey, who knows, maybe Queen's Blade will suddenly somehow become extremely enticing. Anyway, let's get German. I'm just gonna come out and say it right now. The Fraulein Revoltech stand, it's chic, it's minimalist, and I have no friggin' idea how the hell it's supposed to work. This clip is all the way up here, it's on a double Revoltech joint for whatever reason, it seems to clip into the top of her ponytail. It doesn't feel right clipping around this part of her waist, because now she's kind of like dangling in midair. If I kind of aim this all the way around, maybe she's kind of held in place, but there's just something about this that just doesn't seem to work, in my opinion. So this stand is a lot more of a balancing beam than an actual action stand, and it's kind of a shame because I find this Yoko has a bit more trouble standing by herself. However, that aside, her Poseability is a lot different in design because it involves clickety-click Revoltech joints and giant gaps in her chest. She's got Revoltech joints here and there, but there's also a lot of classic Kyoto cut swivel joints, which leads to odd shoulder articulation. Decent elbows, though, and really good knees. The elbows and knees are really clean, very organic. I gotta give them props for that. The ankles, they're okay. The torso's nice. Now, there's only one problem with the hip joints. They are involving Revoltech joints. Her hips generally look okay until you move them. Then what the hell is that? You don't want to... Oh, man. There's just something weird about this. I've seen this picture show up on various certain image boards of various levels of reputation, that no one will ever get used to seeing this. But that aside, her hair is a lot more poseable, oddly enough, because it's on its own Revoltech joint, and I gotta give it props for that. Also, I just think the proportions on this one compared to the MMS are a lot more normal. There's actual, like, substance to the limbs and such. She doesn't look like a kind of emaciated doll woman, but maybe that's just my own experiences in emaciated doll people. She's got her own little plethora of hands, and I've got to say, actually, there's hits and misses compared to her counterpart. She's got more solid hands, they aren't rubber, and I definitely like this hand a lot better for cupping the bottom of the rifle. Splayed open hand as usual. No fists, which I think was a bit of a knock against her, especially since she kind of just has random, I'm getting a shot taken of me, hand. But I will say that I very much prefer her gun-holding hand because it's not rubbery and thus can actually, to some degree, hold on to the gun. This gun also has a slightly more functionable strap that has a bit more give to it, so you can actually potentially sling this over her shoulder once you get it around all these studded wristbands and giant ponytails and things. Basically, this one doesn't feel like it's going to tear off when I try to sling it over her shoulder, which really does help. It doesn't come with removable ammo, but it does come similarly to the MMS with an alternate little stand thing so that you can give her her own lie-down sniper poses, which I just don't have the patience to set up. She also has swappable faces, which seems to just be the fashionable thing to do with your Yoko. Now, hers, I don't really think works quite as smoothly as the MMS, because you still have to remove the head, only now you not only have to swap the bangs, which sometimes takes the entire face with it, and you can, again, if you want, have friendly battle goggles, but that's not what I'm here for. Now, if you want to swap her face to her angry battle face, you have to then remove the Revoltech joint, which, depending on the quality of your given piece, can either be really easy or a really rough time. Eventually, though, it will come loose, and then you grab your angry face, stick the flesh-colored Revoltech joint in there, stick that into the back of her hair, and then add the front scalp of your choice, and in my case, that's always Battle Goggle Scalp. And you just stick that back into the next stump and wham bam thank you ma'am, Kamina's your big bro. As for holding the gun, and she can assume similar action-y jumping around with a giant gun poses. And this stand, I will say, I mean, it's holding her up by her ponytail not that badly. Just feels really awkward. Due to the way that her arms pose, I find it's a little bit more difficult to put her into a variety of poses. I've kind of found that the shoulders are the biggest culprit. Generally, posing this one is about the same for me as the MMS, but for different kind of poses. This one I find is a little bit more static, a little bit less dynamic, which is odd considering that it's, Revoltech, the legs splayed apart, giant I have hands, splayed fingers, masters of super robot epicry. But then again, this isn't a robot, or at least we don't think she's a robot. Now, which of the Yokos would I recommend between the two? I'm not really sure. The Revoltech Yoko on her own stands pretty well, and it's, as far as I know, a decent entry into the Fraulein range of Revoltechs. And I'd say, if you're into that kind of thing, she's recommended. If you're into Gurren Lagann, again, pretty recommended, because this is one of the few posable Yoko toys. But as for a comparison, it's just really hard to say. It depends on what you want out of your proportions, what you want out of your size, what kind of posability you're after, whether or not you really, really crave malleable breasts, if Buta as an accessory clinches the deal for you. Personally, I feel that the Revoltech one is a more solid in construction toy, and I don't feel like it's going to break quite as often as the MMS one feels like it's going to crumble. That and the Revoltech one has the bonus of not coming with a Ziploc bag full of flesh. So look deep inside your hearts, figure out what your personal preferences of anime girl figures are, and I'm sure you'll find the choice that's right for you. This has been internet personality Vangelus, and we aren't done yet. Because you see, Omega Spreem, he's a businessman. And a businessman always needs more secretaries.